ready to present at the getting ready to start the peak performance. Well, hello everyone, and thank you for coming to the Savvy Sales Lady live stream. It has been an eventful day today for me, and I hope that you had a successful day. And I thank you for taking the time out of your evening where you could be relaxing to learn something to enhance your sales career. And so today we're going to do part 2 of leads, prospects, and buyers. Last week we did part 1, and we started off by talking about this. What a lead is, what a prospect is, and what is a buyer. Now, there are buyers and then there's potential buyers. We'll get into more of that later. But a lead is coming to you through a website referral, social media, a leads list, or book of business that you might have taken over. As I said last week, there's a big difference between leads and prospects. And over the decades, everyone has used those terms interchangeably. They've used leads, prospects, and buyers all interchangeably, and they all mean very different things, and they're a very different sales journey. So if you missed last week's part 1, I want to encourage you to go to my YouTube channel, The Savvy Sales Lady, go to the live, and the first video that pops up should be the first part of this series that I'm doing, Leads, Prospects, and Buyers. And if you do it after you watch this live stream, it'll be the number 2 video. This one will be number 1. So I want to encourage you to check that out. So a lead has a very different journey, a very different approach that you should take from a prospect. So as I said, a lead is coming to you through these areas: website referrals, social media, leads list, book of business. Now, the lead already knows something about you. They're coming to you to learn more about you and your product and service. They're trying to discern whether you can actually help them or not. So they're not cold, they're warm. They're a warm buying opportunity that's coming to your website or through social media. Or they may just pick up the phone and call you, right? I mean, tons of businesses get leads just from buyers picking up the phone and calling the sales department. So, what is a prospect? You know me, I always have to drink water during these things. A prospect is a business or person in your niche that you have targeted to sell. They don't know you. They don't know your company that you work for. They don't know anything about your product and services. And a prospect is someone that's on your cold calling list that either you've created or your marketing department has created, or it's a book of business you've taken over. Now, why do I have that on both leads and prospects? Because with a lead, if you take over a book of business and there's already been an introduction, there's already been conversation, then that's still warm. Where on a prospect, if you take over that book of business and no one has contacted them, they're still cold. They still don't know anything about you. That's why it's on both. One has already had a conversation, and for some reason, it never went forward, or they haven't finished the sales process. In a prospect, there's been no outreach at all, none. All right, and I put referral on both leads and prospects too, because one could be a warm introduction where the person that referred you made an introduction either through a text message, a LinkedIn share of your profile, or you met through lunch or at a networking event, whatever. So they're familiar with you, they know your name, they know who you are. Where referral on a prospect side would be someone who said, call Jim, he may be able to use your services. And that outreach has not been made yet. So that's why it's on both. All right. So then, just a review of last week. Who's the buyer, the lead or the prospect? Well, there's potential buyers, the ones that are what I call tire kickers. They're just out there trying to get the best price, the cheapest price. They're not a serious buyer. They're just trying to bargain you down on your price so they can take that price back to their own current vendor and get a cheaper price. Or on a prospect side, they're not a buyer at all because they don't know anything about you, your product, or service. You want to cultivate them into buying. All right. So let's go into the journey. All right. The lead journey is very different than the prospect journey. So let's start with the lead journey first. This is a person who, again, knows something about you or your services. They know a little bit about you. They've come to your website. They've reached out to you on social media. So they're the ones that came to your website to contact you. Maybe they filled out a contact form. Maybe they called the business to talk to the sales department. So how would you approach that lead? What would be the first thing you can do? Well, there's several things that you can do. I would say most people that get a lead through a form will email them back and have them book a date on their calendar, some kind of calendar system that they may use, and book a time for them to talk. Now, when it's done through email, there is a higher probability that they'll reschedule and cancel the day of or right before the appointment. Maybe something's come up, they've changed their mind, they've found somebody else. That's always a possibility. Or the other thing, and which is what I prefer, is that when that contact form comes in and you always get their name, their email address, and their phone number. Is there a possibility that they could give you a fictitious email and phone number? There is. Okay. Frankly, which is why I like to call. I prefer calling because then you'll really know. And that happens sometimes. In all my years that I've been in business, 10 years now, I think it's only happened once or twice. Most people that take the time to fill out a contact form are serious about wanting to reach you. So, if you call ahead of time, you can go ahead and book the appointment over the phone. Now, what I do in an email, if I use email to let them know I've got your contact form, I will ask them in the email what would they prefer? Do they want me to call them, or would they prefer that they tell me a few dates and times that they're available? Personally, I don't like giving a calendar because it's too easy for them to back out at the last minute or that day or the day before. That's why I like to use an introductory email and kind of talk back and forth in email or talk over the phone. That way, you're a real person to them. Your business is a real business, and it kind of develops more of a comfort of and trust to move forward with an appointment. So that's why I prefer either an email or a phone call. With the email, thanking them for coming to my website, for filling out the form, and just asking them a few questions and asking them when would be a good time to book an appointment. Again, you're going to have some tire kickers that come through that contact form. So that's what I prefer to do. Got a comment. Hey, Kayla, good to see you again. Good to have you on board. All right. Now, the prospect journey is a different journey because, as you know, that prospect doesn't know anything about you. Nothing. They don't know who you are. They don't know any information about your product or services. They don't even know you're going to contact them. So, in the prospect journey, generally speaking, your marketing team or you've created your own leads list to contact prospects that are in your niche. Typically, people will either cold call or do a cold email. I will always use a cold call over a cold email. You know, we've all been bombarded with all of these cold emails that are frankly written poorly. They push and push and push. I get emails in my inbox daily saying things like, I sent you an email on Monday and you still haven't responded. That isn't going to make me respond. That's rude. In no way would I respond to something like that. I delete those emails. I don't know who's teaching that, but I get them often from different types of businesses. I sent you an email. You still haven't responded. No, and I don't plan to. I like to use the phone because I'm really good at cold calling. I'm really good at nailing that appointment. And I think it's more personable than bombard people with emails because our email inbox are all full. They're all full. All right. So it's either going to be a cold call or a cold email. Again, they don't know you. They don't even know you're calling, and they don't even know, they're not expecting an email from you. So then you get a hold of the person, the prospect. All right. This is where most salespeople completely get it wrong. Instead of booking an appointment to have a sales conversation, they try to have the sales conversation on the phone the first time they called. I've even had sales reps say to me in coaching sessions, well, I had them on the phone for 5 minutes and, I didn't want to waste their time. So I, asked them if they were interested in my product. I wouldn't buy after 5 minutes. Would you? No, of course not. You have to cultivate those prospects, those people that don't know anything about you. You have to cultivate them into what? A lead. And then you cultivate the lead into a buyer. And then once they're a buyer, you can sell them. So that's really how it works. So when I cold call, and if I don't get them on the phone, I have a prepared voice message ready. So I'll leave a voice message and then immediately I'll send an email with the same message. And then what I would do is, yeah, Kayla said, I would prefer an appointment than on the spot. That's right. Most people would. First of all, you don't know how much time they have to talk on the phone. And second of all, they want to do some research on you. So they could commit to an appointment and then have some time to learn a little bit more about you. So if I don't get them on the phone, I leave a voice message, I follow up with an email, then I put them in a rotation of 48 hours. What I do is I call them again. And if I still get a voicemail, I leave a voicemail. I turn around and send an email again. And I sure the heck don't say, yeah, still haven't responded. I say something that, trying to be nurturing the relationship. I understand that you're busy. I called on Monday. I bet this is a busy time for you. Just for your convenience, here's the message that I left. Something like that, And then if I do get them on the phone, then I briefly talk to them. And you guys, I'm coming out with a cold calling course, which I will absolutely delve into every one of these steps on the prospect's journey. But I don't know what is on my face, but it is bugging me. Once I get them on the phone, I nurture that relationship by asking them specific questions. And here is a clue. You don't want to interrogate someone with questions. And here's how you can avoid that. Whatever the conversation is, you can say something, a statement, then a question. So if you ask the prospect something about, tell me more about how your sales team utilizes their CRM. And the prospect, says something like, well, I wish they would use it more than what they are using it for. And mostly they're using it for tasks only when we want them to use it for emails and appointment setting and those kinds of things. So you would respond to that by saying, so if I hear you correctly, you want your sales team to use your CRM more efficiently in order to help them close deals. What percentage of your sales team utilizes the full extent of your CRM? So see, you're making a statement that you heard what they said, then you're turning around and asking a question pertaining to the same information. What you don't want to do is go down a series of questions. In other words, question, the prospect answers, question, the prospect answers, question, the prospect answers. When you do that, that comes across as interrogation. So always make a statement first, then follow with another question, with a follow-up question. Okay? That way it's more conversational. And that's what you want to do. When you're when you've got this person that knows nothing about you as a prospect, they don't know you're calling, they didn't expect your email, now you've got them on the phone, you want to make it conversational in order to do what? To set the appointment in order to have the sales conversation, the real sales conversation. You don't want to sell them and pitch your product and service the first time you get them on the phone. Now, I know sales rep thinks, gosh, I have called and called and called, and now I've got him on the phone. I'm going to close him. Well, you're going to lose that prospect doing that because, again, they have no idea who you are. They don't even know anything about you. I know I keep beating that drum, but it's very different from a lead does know something about you, who has come to your website or has reached out to you on social media or LinkedIn. It's a very different journey. The lead is a warm lead, where a prospect is totally cold. Like I said in the beginning, I know that we have used these words interchangeably over the decades in selling, and it's really done salespeople a disservice because I often, when I'm coaching and training, I see this mix up going on all the time. So I hope that makes it clearer for you about the difference between a lead and a prospect. And let me just say something about the buyer real quick. Okay. So the prospect at this point in the journey is not a buyer. And so many times salespeople misunderstand that. That's why pushing your products and services on that initial cold call is not going to cause them to buy because they're not a buyer. And you don't even know if there is a need. That first cold call is nothing more than an introduction to you, your product and services, and for you to learn a little more about the prospect and for the prospect to learn a little more about you. A buyer is someone that's ready to buy. So in the lead journey, this person that's coming to your website, they have an interest, they have a need, and they're trying to determine by going through your website whether they might want to invest 30 minutes talking to you. They're warm. Okay. Not the same with a prospect because they didn't know you were going to call. They didn't expect your email. Okay. So you have to treat them very differently. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Kayla says, your ways of asking questions make sense. I don't like being bombarded with questions, especially on the phone. Exactly, Kayla. So, Kayla, thanks for joining me. We had others that joined too, but they did not ask questions. So, I appreciate your comments, Kayla. And everyone, remember, stay savvy. And sales is a journey, not a quick trip around the block. I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.